All right.
All right.
We're starting, Dave. All right. All right. We are back, guys. The feeling is mutual. And we brought you another topic today. David did not decide that he wanted to put his countdown on screen like he did last time with his zero. How are we doing today, David?
Um, doing good. How we doing today, Dylan?
Doing fine. Would have been a lot better if we did this earlier in the morning. I've been very lazy today, not doing basically anything all day other than watch TV. I made lunch. That was it.
Yeah, I've been pretty lazy this morning too.
It was school and working out.
Well,
Very, very lazy.
ran 4 miles, worked out.
Only 4 miles.
I've been lazy
Not
today.
five.
Yeah, well, I did 2 miles as my warm up, and I did 2 miles as my cool down, and my second 2 miler was a sub 7. My
It
fastest.
sure was.
Can
It
you
sure was. So what?
could you hear me or
Yeah, I can hear you.
I was making
I
sure?
think so. We'll find out when we upload it and it's wrong. uh, so we get into our subject today, David. Our subject is going to be judging people in general. And I think that you're going to like this one a lot because being somebody who used to be extremely judgmental and also now being one that is now judged. Um, I'm gonna let you have the floor. I keep trying to mess with this. Like I said, I've been shunned into the bedroom today because my fiance is downstairs using the living room, so we can't have the TV in the background the whole time while we're trying to talk. So, David, why don't you start off by breaking down some of the times you were judged, or let's start off with you judging, and then we'll work our way up.
Okay. I I'd stop. I wouldn't say that I don't judge anymore. We were actually texting about that this morning. I actually do still judge. I just judge people in a different way. But one, I wouldn't call him an A-list celebrity because you might view him as that, but I wouldn't call Logan Paul as an A-list celebrity. Maybe according
Maybe
to
in our generation.
our generation, maybe, but as a whole, no. I used to talk down upon him just because he did a lot of stupid shit, but um, you can't. I don't fucking know the guy. I can't say that he's this awful douchebag because I don't know him, and he never like killed anyone or I mean he did that stupid I think it was
Video in Japan.
yeah where I think it was it might have been the same forest as the movie. I don't know if you saw that
It
movie.
is.
Okay, yeah, where basically people go there to commit suicide, and I actually liked the movie. It wasn't a great movie, but I actually liked it. A lot of people in the theaters hated it, at least one movie showing that I saw. But that's another thing too. This is a little off topic, but I saw that movie with my ex-girlfriend, and I remember like usually we like the same things or the same movies, we had the same opinion, but she heard the people near us after the movie say, "Oh, I wish I would have watched this other movie," or that or this movie was crap, and I was like, "You're just saying that because other people are saying that. I know exactly how you are. You're so influenced by what other people say," which is still true to this day, I'm sure. Yeah, that's another thing you shouldn't. I think it's normal and natural to care what other people think, but you shouldn't like something or not like something because someone else likes or dislikes it. And but yeah, Logan Paul. Back to our topic. That was a guy that I think not only myself, a lot of people. We have a mutual friend or coworker who also talks shit about him. He probably still doesn't like him, but
Yeah.
now I wouldn't say like I'm a fan of his, but I'm more neutral on him because I know after my breakup, I think we mentioned it in our first video that we never posted about how we went to the park about a month and a half ago, and this lady that my ex-girlfriend and I mutually knew from the gym at the YMCA. We saw her. I didn't look at her when we walked by her, but Dylan said, Dylan looked at her and said, I think, hey, how are you doing? She didn't say anything back, but apparently she was looking through my soul. And,
Looking through the windows of your soul, she burnt you to a crisp with her vision.
and so obviously she heard that me and my ex-girlfriend broke up, and she probably heard the story of why we did and just negative stuff. Um, so if all you hear is negative stuff, all you're going to picture the relationship is a negative relationship throughout it and throughout its entirety, which is not true. Obviously, there were more great moments than bad moments, even though there were way too many bad moments that should have happened on my end. But that's how people view you if they hear something bad, and especially doing the stupid shit that I did many times. Um, yeah, it's not a good look, but I don't think I should be judged as harshly as I am being judged because everyone that knows me knows that I'm a good guy. And it's not like one of those like you'll hear a fucking crime scene and they'll interview the next door neighbor like, oh yeah, Jim was such a good guy. That neighbor doesn't fucking know him. Like they probably talk every now and then. Like my friends actually know me and they know even though I did some very like bad, immature, disrespectful things towards my ex. I'm sure even my ex would I'm sure even my ex would back me up and say, "Yeah, I'm not a bad guy. It just I never grew up and learned from my mistakes, so it just didn't work out."
Yeah, and so you touched on a lot there, so I'm going to backtrack all the way to the beginning of the
That,
statement, and then
that was
I'll go
longest,
away.
that's my longest
Yep,
segment.
that's definitely your longest segment. That was your most input you've had.
This one hits home. So
So to relate all the way back to your actual movie thing, I think you're even though you thought it was off topic, I think that it's very relevant because a lot of the times our exposure to even celebrities or just other people is through bad storytelling. What I mean is, a lot of times the good information doesn't come through. Like, there's a lot of little things that you do with relationships, whether they're, emotional or physical, that can, really determine the way that you're viewed by other people. So, like, to relate to the Logan Paul example, the reason that's so prevalent is because that's one of the ones that me and you really disputed on before, where I had not even known the guy prior to the actual video coming out. And, all I knew is everybody hated him. So I went and, like watched his videos to see why. And he seemed like a douchebag, but then, you see a lot of the videos where he does good things for people. It's like, well, it kind of balances it out and kind of teaches you, like what you said, good people are capable of doing bad things and you can't be judged by just the negative things that you do. And a lot of people are influenced by other people like that because it's a lot easier to jump on that train than it is to admit that someone that you might truly despise is capable of doing good things and isn't a terrible person. So yeah, I mean, like, the example at the park is a great example of that, where that girl probably heard about the breakup, exactly why it happened, and then she immediately, like, because that's her only exposure to you, truthfully, despises your existence. And I think it's common amongst men and women to just despise other people for no reason. I think it's just things that humans do a lot of times is that we think the bit of relevance that we have to a person truly dictates overall how they should be viewed. Like, I mean, you could relate this to almost anything too, with like, whether it's your friends or family or even all the way up to celebrities and, politicians, stuff like that. I mean, like, this is the most divided we've ever been as far as hating people that disagree with us. It's like, a really divided time in general for the entire nation because of this concept is that, we have a hard time acknowledging that different isn't always the most evil thing in the world and that if you hear everything through one mouth, you might have a totally different perspective of somebody than what's actually totally true. So, uh, you've got, some stories, that kind of began your like people hating you. Just like Explain to the audience some of the ways that you felt judged personally during your relationship
during my relationship. Hmm.
with the coworkers specifically.
Mm. Wait, hold on. Which topic are you?
I mean, you can pick any one. You could pick the time where you didn't go out in the middle of Greensboro.
Okay, yeah. Because the one I was thinking of is the one where the her coworker's, I think, fiance at the time, maybe boyfriend at the time, judged me for wanting to have, you know what?
A
I was,
threesome.
mm, fuck it, yes. I didn't
Say it.
I didn't want to talk about it because it's rated M for mature, but this is rated R stuff. But yeah,
Not a kid-friendly video.
I'll say it. Yeah, I did want a threesome.
But
Um,
you didn't go actively looking for it. Make that very clear. You didn't go actively looking for one. You mentioned that you would like it. Like most straight males in the world would like the idea of that. You didn't go looking for it.
well, not that night specifically, no. But I used to make stuff to.
Yeah. That's the part where it gets dark, yeah.
Okay,
You don't have to go into that yet. We're not going to expose everything this early. Just
but
tell us,
but
like,
but
go back to the guy.
but so technically, I did actively go look for it. Or what do you mean by that?
I mean, you did that to parody the idea of it so that you could, like, get off.
Have the
You
thought.
didn't,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
yeah, you didn't do it.
Okay, yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, I didn't. I don't. I'm not gonna say no, I never would have, but I don't think that I would have actually went through with it without my ex's permission. I guess is a good way to put it.
Hmm.
But as we know, I should have never done any of that shit to begin with.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, get back to the guy. I mean, I don't think this is supposed to be a referendum on
To the
the
guy,
bad things you've done.
I don't know the guy, and looking at his perspective, I guess I kind of get it, but he didn't know me either. And so they all went out for his girlfriend, fiance's birthday one night. And I called my ex, um, and I'm going slow because I'm trying to remember, like, recall the whole story of that night. But I forgot why I called my ex. I was just, I guess, making sure she was okay because she had a really bad tendency of whenever she went out with her girlfriends, which this, I never was like that guy who would like never let her do anything. Like whenever she wanted to do stuff with her friends, I was like, yeah, go ahead, like go do it because she felt like she said this, the disposable friend. Which is understandable because she was picked on as a kid, and so that kind of lingers on with her now today. That's why she's such a hard worker, or that's part of it, anyways. And she, so I'm like, yeah, go have fun with your friends, and I'm all about that. But she had a tendency of getting too drunk, and there were a couple of times that she did some questionable things that you shouldn't do in a relationship, which, like I said, most of the breakup was because of me. Like 80% of the breakup was my fault. And, um, but anyways, I was getting judged by that guy for wanting to have a threesome. We were on the phone and I was like, yeah, we should have a threesome with one of your coworkers. And since she was really drunk, she yelled that out to her friends, which she wouldn't usually have done. And then he gave me shit about it. And, but anyways, back to the main story that I want to get to that you mentioned was another night they went to, I think it was Miranda Lambert concert, and they had a pretty good. She had a pretty good opener. Maren Morris. That's a really good opener. By the way, but of course she gets fucking drunk, and her my ex and all of her friends came to our apartment at the time whenever I was living with my ex, and um, they had their little pregame. I don't know exactly what they drank, but my ex had just got her medication, um, her dosage raised a little bit, and so they go to the concert, and you, me, and Brad go out the night for that night. I don't know. We watched a movie, go get dinner, went to Sam's Club or something like that. It's about close to 8 o'clock, around 8 o'clock. We're coming back. I think Brad's driving. You're in the front seat. I'm in the back seat, and I'm about to like pass out because I'm so tired because we had work that night, and I get tired easily. So I get home, or so that night I'm like texting her and stuff. I'm like, "Hey, are you okay? I'm just checking up on you." And she's like, "Yeah. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm doing fine." And like, "Are you sure?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, good. Go have fun." Um, I think either after you guys drop me off or on the way back, I get notified by one of her friends through my ex's phone, texting me, "Hey, yeah, she's in the hospital." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, I can't remember exactly what she said, but it threw me off because she was telling me she was doing fine. So I gotta take her for her word. We've been dating for over 4 years at that point. Like you should trust someone by then, same as she should have trusted me, which she did, which made her look stupid, but that's a whole nother story. But anyways, apparently she didn't drink outside of the apartment. And apparently what she drank at the apartment was this mixed drink, and I don't know if that's true. I don't know if she drank at the concert or not, but it's just the fact that she was telling me she was okay, and then I later find out either that night or the next morning that she was in the bathroom throwing up all over the floor, on herself apparently. She was literally sitting on the floor in the public bathroom at the concert, and it's like I don't know. I don't want, and like I said, this wasn't the first time that it happened. I don't, if I'm in a relationship and I'm gonna have to emphasize, I'm not saying she's a bad person or that the breakup was her fault. I'm gonna have to keep saying that, I'm sure, because people are gonna be like, oh, well, fuck that guy. Um, it was his fault, but he's trying to blame it on her. No, I'm not. I'm not trying to do that. It was mostly my fault. I'm just saying for this specific video, this topic, um, you just, I got judged. One of her coworkers, one of her friends, got her phone and said, "He's in the hospital. I think she would like it if you came." And I was like, "I'm really tired. You, Brad, Rebecca advised me not to go because I was really tired."
Yeah, it wasn't a safe drive. It was not something I would authorize that late at night.
And so I was like, God, I'm. Her coworkers and friends already hate me. I'm already on their bad side, and that's not a good thing because whenever your girlfriends hate you, that's not good, and especially one who's very influenced by what other people think about her, especially her coworkers that she sees 3 times a week. And so obviously I didn't go, and that they shunned me even more. And
Also, you need to add in, her parents told you that it was okay if you didn't come.
yeah, I was about to get to that. So another reason why I didn't go is because her parents were going. They didn't have work that night, so they were fine. Granted, they were coming from Mount Airy, but still, I mean, that's their like baby girl. So I mean, of course they're going to go. And I was in touch with her mom, and can't remember how the conversation went, but her mom basically said that I don't have to go. I was like, okay, cool. But then again, at like, I don't know if it was that night or after the fact, I was like, oh, maybe they could have picked me up and I could have gone. But it's just a story like this that I got shit on so badly. Like, this is how fucking bad it was. The very next day or night that my ex went to work, one of those friends, coworkers that she went with, came up to her, just came up to her and said, I don't like your boyfriend. And I'm like, you don't even know me. Like, it's just one thing. One thing can really have people turn against you and they don't hardly even know you.
Yeah, it's part of it. I think context to a lot of situations like this really make a big difference. Like if we told that story as she went to a concert, got drunk, and had to go to the hospital, and you just didn't come, you'd sound like an asshole in that story. But then, given all the context of the story, I think that it makes a lot of sense. And everybody close to you said, "Look, this isn't a smart drive." Like, I mean, no, your plan with her parents picking you up makes a lot of sense. But honestly, it's easy to be the Monday morning quarterback. And in that moment, you've been up for 18 hours uninterrupted. You're a pretty tired guy. It's really tough to make the most sound decisions that late at night. So, like, I would never condemn you for that. But to relate it to the topic that we're talking about here now, this is a common occurrence that I think that happens all across the world daily, is just that people generally judge others based off of small amounts of context, and a few stories like that. Like, her friends more than likely only heard negative things as far as like the stories that she came to work. I mean, it's not like every time you did, you cleaned the whole house or something like that. She went home or went to work and told everybody, "Oh yeah, David's at home cleaning and everything."
Yeah,
Like,
I used to tell whenever I used to call you and Bruce and Derek on the morning phone call, I'd be like, yeah, if she ever had to go to work or if I was off, I'd be the one cleaning up the cat litter. I'd be the one vacuuming. Like I used to tell you guys this. I used to clean up the place. I used to do the dishes. Like I wasn't like some slob or some slouch. Now, even though I kind of looked at myself that way, um, like it wasn't all bad. Like it was kind of talked about.
you said that like that, but like you had more to say. Um, but no, like, that is just a prime example. I think it's actually a great example of what we're talking about here. I think that generally the way that we break down these situations with other people, where we hear certain stories, things like this, and we really start to dictate how we feel about people, it's really easy to continue that as well whenever a month later you get another piece of context saying about how, like for example, your thing with Logan Paul, where like the video came out and you had heard, you probably saw like a clip or two, like the dudes hate him, you heard nothing but other people saying the same thing, and then all you need is 2 months later or some other thing to come out, and then now now everything that you thought ahead of time was reassured, which in reality within a 2 month span, he could have done a lot of great things. And in your scenario, all those girls, after that maybe you took care of Kelly the whole next day or something like that, and that story, I mean, I'm just saying for the example, but I mean, there's a lot of context and a lot of time that we miss in between events that really dictate the way that we view this. So I want to, start to close this episode out with more of like the way that we condemn people. Happen.
All right, we're back. Had to pause it. My
Yep.
laptop was getting low on battery. Been using it a
Yeah,
lot.
I was really confused. I was like, what's going on here? I don't know exactly at what point you paused it at, though.
I can't
Either
remember.
way, I can do it's okay. I want to transition into the way that we condemn people, though, uh, and the way that we just generally hate people, and all the way around when it comes to situations like this. Like, I think I've been a person who's always been pretty good about things like this, where if I dislike you or judge you, it's based off of one. I'm not saying just one, but it's based off like an idea of you that I have over a limited amount of time. But I don't ever think that that truly defines them. And like, for example, we've talked about, for athletes, like, I've always disliked, the mentality of, Cam Newton, for example. Like, I thought he was always, a shitty leader on and off the field. Realistically, as a Panthers quarterback, he's a loud winner, but a quiet loser. But not like a humble, quiet loser, like a pouty loser. So that was always something that I didn't like about him. But I never thought that that meant he was a terrible guy. And then, so, he lost his Oikos commercial because of his comments in that interview where he said listening to a woman talk about routes is just, it surprised him. And so after that, everybody called him sexist and all these things. And it's like, for a lot of people that already didn't like him, not me in this situation, but a lot of people probably was like, that just doubled down on reasons to not like him. Like, not only is he, an obnoxious player, but also he's, sexist or stuff like that. Like, it's really easy for us to label people based off of stuff like that, when in reality, maybe he's a great guy to women. I mean, who ultimately knows? And I'm sure, like, off the top of your head, you can think of other scenarios too outside of your own where, you know, things like this happen. And I think that naturally, as people, we got to try to understand that our limited exposure to people don't truly dictate everything. And when you click on a video and it's been edited or cut down to just the part that makes it seem, like vile or disgusting or just downright wrong, a lot of times we're missing some of the context that sets that up that makes it more relevant and less heinous when it's actually released. So, I mean, I think that it's a common issue with people, and I mean, I'll let you chime in real quick, and then we'll start wrapping this bad boy up.
Well, I know you hate to hear this, but I'm actually a big fan of Cam Newton's now. Um, and there's a couple reasons. One is because he basically got he basically got dumped by his ex-girlfriend. Um, Not literally, but that's basically what it's like because he wanted to stay in he wanted to stay in Carolina, but they didn't want him anymore, and there's a new regime and all that coming up. But so over the off season, he posted a lot of YouTube videos of how I'm basically going to show you. All right, well, if you don't want me, then I'm going to show you what you're missing out on. And I basically have that same attitude now, even though I know you're like you don't need to do it because of that, which I get that. Um, Even in one of the texts you said, even Goggins would say that, and it was funny because I was working out this morning and he was like, "You cannot move forward with hate," and I was just smiling because I was like, Dylan said that same shit basically this morning, but um, I wouldn't say it's so much that I hate my ex. I hate how it ended because we dated for almost 5 years, and I don't know. It feels like whenever you get dumped, it feels like betrayal in a way, even though that's not what it was. Because if you want to call it that, then you can say that I kind of betrayed her for doing all the shit that I did. So, um, but yeah, another reason why I like Cam now is because
That's what this whole episode's about, is too, is like, why we like Cam Newton.
yeah, yeah, and I watch a few YouTube videos of the show First Things First on FS1, and Brandon Marshall was saying whenever this whole COVID thing first started, he texted. It's funny, you're frozen, smiling, but oh wait, no, you're not frozen. It looked like it. Brandon Marshall texted apparently a bunch of NFL players. He said, and he said Cam Newton was the first one to respond back to him about helping out people whenever COVID first started, and I thought that was pretty cool. But another thing that's cool about the story is Cam told Brandon Marshall not to publicize anything that Cam did to help out. I was like, that's a very like selfless act, and like a bunch of Carolina Panther boosters and all that have said how much he's helped the community around there. And I used to hate Cam. I used to hate Cam Newton. But I don't know. I really think he might be a pretty good guy, and I was just judging him for how cocky he was on the field, and so that's why I'm a big fan of his now because I can kind of relate. with the whole breakup thing and the whole wanting to prove yourself that you're not this bad guy and you're actually a good guy and you're trying to better yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the whole point of this episode too, ultimately. I mean, you kind of actually wrapped that up and made it relevant, even though I was kind of thinking that you were really going off on a weird ass tangent. But that is the thing. It's like a lot of those things that we don't know about other people, can go unnoticed, and we judge them off, like I said, our limited exposure. I mean, it's kind of like, we're circling back to the original concept here is just, it's really easy to judge people off of the few things that you know about them. And it's a lot harder to actually admit that we may be wrong about our perception of people. And I think that you can relate this all the way to every facet of life. Anybody that you think you know based off of whatever you've heard about them, whether they be athletes, actors, politicians, family, friends, your neighbors. I mean, anybody it can be is like when you have a limited exposure to them ultimately, and you already may disagree with one or two things that they've done, it's really easy to jump on the bandwagon of that. I'm not asking you to, I'm not asking anybody to go find an extreme amount of exposure to somebody that they dislike to now change their mind. I'm not even saying that, Hitler did all these bad things because, and then he ultimately is a good guy in the end. It's not even about that. There are bad people. There are good people that do bad things. And I think that the more, often that we compare the two, like they're the same thing, the harder it is for us to delineate the difference between the two. So, the difference between a really bad person and someone who's just done a bad thing, it's tough for us to tell if we sit there and treat them like they're always the same person. So, for example, like to relate to your thing, I mean, I think you're a good person that did a bad thing and, you were punished for it and you learned your lesson. And, at this point, if anybody is still judging you for those events specifically, then you're not listening to what we're basically telling you is that, you grow from the mistakes you make, and it's not always as black and white as everything sounds when you're given full context of a situation. So you get one last final thought in here, David, and then I'm going to get us out of here. And make sure it's not some long tangent about liking other athletes.
Not Cam Newton. I hate that guy. No, but I think the solution to all this is basically three steps. So first step is habits. I had a bad habit of doing stupid stuff while I was alone at the apartment. Um, I never broke out of that habit. I stuck to a bad habit. The second step is discipline, which kind of relates, this kind of goes with habit because, as I said in the first episode, I started hitting the gym a lot recently for the past few months, couple months, few months, and I've stuck with it. And that's a good habit to have to where I'm not, if I was doing this years ago, several months ago, maybe I wouldn't have done the stupid shit that I was doing. Um, that'd be too fucking tired to even think about that. And then what was the third thing?
You forgot in the middle of your
Oh,
long
the third
explanation.
step. You can just ramble for a little bit.
Oh, I'll ramble. So I'll make it relevant to what it sounds like you're doing three steps of how not to make mistakes, instead of three ways to to not judge and hate people the way that we're discussing in this moment. To relate it, I mean, like, I think that the only way to really get through it is just to understand the difference between your, okay, you got it?
Right, okay. So the third thing to look at is, yes, that person is really a piece of shit. Is if we'll relate it back to my breakup. I'd really be a piece of shit if I and stayed living the life that I was living. But I'm really changing now. I do agree with you. Like I still have to mentally change, maturity wise. Um, I think I have grown a little bit in that department, but I've really grown in like my work ethic more so than anything. But yeah, I think if you do fuck up, if you're someone like me or someone who has a bad rep for a thing or a couple things that they did, and you don't change, then yeah, you might be a piece of shit. But like going back to school full time, keeping my full time job, working out 5 days a week, going to a soup kitchen that by myself that I never would have probably even thought about doing. And not only doing that, but going to school and making good grades too while I'm at it and helping people. But like, yeah, I think as long as you're changing and trying to improve yourself after the whole situation, then yeah, you're probably not a piece of shit then.
No, you're right. I mean, and people can obviously earn the comeback player of the year, and that's what you're going for right now.
Just like,
Post break.
like LeBron said after he won, I just want some damn respect.
Well, some damn respect indeed. And on that note, guys, we're gonna wrap it up now. Running a little long here. Don't want people to turn it off. You know, in summary, David, we just got to stop hating everybody. Simple as that. Whether you disagree with them on sports, work ethic, whether they should drive to Greensboro in the middle of the night after being up for 18 hours, politics, whatever reason it is that you are truly despising somebody in your life, it takes a lot more effort to carry that kind of hate for somebody than it does to just say, I really don't care what a celebrity or somebody that I don't even know does on the daily basis. And I can promise you, living with that mentality will take you a lot farther than carrying a lot of hate and judging people for the small things that you truly know about them, honestly. I mean, everybody is judgmental in their own way. I mean, I judge people that don't work hard. You do the same thing. I mean, everybody has their own judgments of certain people. And it's not that they're even justified either and that others aren't. It's just that there's no way for us to stop truly doing that. But it takes a lot more effort to continue to hate and carry that in your heart. And like you said, it's impossible to grow and to be better if you're carrying hate in your heart. So if we're still trying to get to the peak version of mental and physical fitness and trying to reach that ultimate spectrum of your body, alleviating hate in your heart is a key way to get there in growth mentally and physically. So any more comments, David? Otherwise, let's go ahead and end the stream now.
The more you talk, I feel like I get more um, ideas in my head.
Hard. You get harder.
But it's just no, I don't get harder like that. But it's just one thing that I guess I can look at it from both sides. Like, yeah, I don't look at people the same that don't work hard. Like, if I go to the gym, and I'll admit, like, I do get on my phone, but like I said, like, people that just walk on the treadmill and like are just looking at their phone. There's almost no point of going to the gym. Like, you're there for an hour or whatever, so you might as well go as hard as you can because you're only gonna be there for an hour of 23 other hours in the day. So I mean, but then again, it's like if that's the way they want to live, then that's the way they want to live. So I mean, don't don't judge, but like I don't know how to say it, but like okay, we just need to end this stream.
You're saying you're saying that it's not the worst thing in the world to judge somebody, but you shouldn't let your judgment be their only reality for that person. Like if somebody's happy living the life they want to live, let them live it.
Well, I guess it's just
Don't walk.
because like I used to be like sedentary and like lazy and like I'm doing the things I do now, and it makes me realize there's so much like I texted you, there's so much that I've been leaving on the table by being so lazy. Like who knows? Maybe I could have made better grades in high school if I'd have just read a fucking chapter in the book or something. Like because now I'm making a lot better grades and I'm not working like probably as hard as I can or should, but like I'm working hard, I guess enough to make A's and B's and but like it's just a lot of us like we go back to the 40% rule back in episode one. Like we just have so much more than we can give, and we can live such better lives if we just tap into that. That's
That's a good thing.
a different topic, but
It is, but let's go and use that to wrap up, man. All right, guys, this is our third episode. Like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully, we're through. I guess what I would call chapter 3 of our process here, or well, chapter 2 really, because chapter 1 was just kind of introducing to you. Last week we did diet. This week we're talking about moving forward with hatred in your heart. We'll come back next week with another topic to try to get you to that peak of physical and mental fitness. And guys, Hope you enjoyed. And David, say whatever you gotta say and then hit end.
Later.